It's official, man. We're live. We got
Mhm.
our special guest for today. Oliver has joined us. Oliver's
Yes.
Thrift Boutique. He's going to go through all of his thrifted items, and we're going to see how that goes.
Aw.
We'll
Hey,
just.
Oliver. Wave. Yay.
I'm going to kick him out of here in a second. He's going to get all
All right.
restless, but for now, he'll hang out for a second.
All right.
But we'll
Your
wait
volume's
for
your volume's a little low.
a little low.
Maybe you're
Is that
not.
better? Here, I'm going to get him out of here. Oh,
Probably. Yeah. Sweetie pie.
goodbye to that baby.
Aw. All
Okay,
right.
who
So you're
knows?
you're manning the YouTube right now, right?
I'm manning everything. I'm good to go. Can you see questions pop up and stuff like that
I
on your end?
No. I'm in StreamYard. I don't see private chat comments. I don't see anything. So.
Okay, I'll be able to see them on my end and click on through them and all that good
Mhm.
stuff.
I don't
But
see anything. All right. I'm in there right now. 0 people are in the chat.
it's okay. I listen. I was kind of expecting this. I didn't think anyone would show up today, anyways. So we'll just run through this as a normal thrift haul, and we'll see
Okay.
what we could do. Who
Yeah.
cares, man? If no one wants to join us, no one has to join us. So it'll just be me and you doing a thrift haul.
That's fine.
Love it, man.
All right.
Well, if you want to roll into it, and let's start with your stuff, because I'm sure you probably have something a little bit more exciting than what I have here, unfortunately.
Hmm.
I do have a few cool things, a few interesting things, and maybe some people will learn some stuff from this eventually. But what'd you find today, buddy?
All right. I always find some weird stuff. Here we go. Just okay. So something like this. I'm not going to pull it up on screen because I didn't have time to yet. But these are all the little things that are floating around at the big bottom of the bins, and we talked about this the other day. It didn't look like much. It didn't really even have a brand on it or a model number on the back. And it was really tricky to figure out where the model number was. But then I noticed like there was like this release, like a lock thing. I had to pop that off underneath where the batteries are kept. Turned out this is if you can see it there, stream controller. All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So the model number, I can't zoom in that much. Make a long story short, there was batteries in there and it was actually working. And I looked it up and these are like $40. And
Wait, did you say Stream or Steam? Because Steam is like
oh,
the game engine
oh,
thing.
okay. Yes, it's a Steam controller.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, yeah, Steam is like this really big like gaming marketplace type thing. So that's what that's intended for, I'm
Okay.
assuming.
All right. Steam controller. I never heard of it, but it looks so generic. It really was lame. And I was like, and I've seen a ton of these where it's like, oh, these are just generic. I don't even know video games, so whatever.
Yeah.
But just picked it up, and it's like $40 to $50. And I was like, cool, all right, no big deal.
Cool.
Little, and I was there. I was there for just under 6 hours.
Holy cow, are you
So
serious?
yeah, so I just to let you know, I smell like a working man today. I was lounged out on the floor of a Goodwill outlet World Center, just chilling out on their tile floor. They don't really have chairs there, so it's just I feel so disgusting afterwards. So there was another thing I grabbed. There was a Dymo Rhino Pro 5000. I forget how much it is, so anyone that could look it up, check it out. But I think and just to let you know, anything that I'm grabbing it's got to be close to 25 to and above. So it all averages out to around $40 an item. So
I
those
love
are
it.
two that I have. We could alternate. We could go back and forth.
Yeah, no, we'll go back and forth. I just wanted to shout out my buddy Jeremy's comment here. Goodwill will charge you rent if you try to hang out there. It sounds like you know from personal experience, buddy.
Yeah. I mean, Goodwill's pretty cool. I mean, you hang out there all day. You have the bathroom there. You have nice water fountain. You have couches to chill out on in most stores.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
Yeah, you could find like a future spouse there, have some love affair at the Goodwill. Like there's some crazy people there. You
Oh,
meet people
yeah.
from all walks of life, you know. It's an interesting place for
Yeah,
sure.
I've seen
But
that too. I've seen that too.
I'm
No
sure you have.
marriages. No
I'm sure.
marriages. I've seen it all.
Alright, well, I wanted to showcase something. It's a little heavy. I got to pull it up here. You'd be proud of me because it's electronics. I
Hmm.
know in like the last chat we did, I said that I don't like doing electronics. And like right now, since we're using you guys to ship our stuff, I'm really limiting myself on
Yeah.
getting anything that's big that I actually have to ship myself while we're here, like traveling. But I picked this up because it was only $8. And I'm starting with this because it's kind of like a whammy. It's interesting and people always pass on these. But this is a CanoScan 9000F scanner, right? So a lot of people think that scanners are like junk and no one uses them anymore, but photographers will still use them. People that shoot film will still pay a lot of money for good scanners. This is like $100 to $130 sale. Unfortunately, it didn't come with the actual like film strip holder, so I'll probably get the lower
Hmm.
end of that. But these things are super easy to test, and I mean, some film scanners can go for thousands of dollars. Like not these types, like obviously they're going to be a little bit more commercialized, but people do donate these all the time. So this is something that if it looks if it's like a Canon or a Nikon, you should definitely look it up. Some of the Epson ones they sell well as well, but a lot of the ones from Canon they do tend to do well because again they're like photography centered. Um, Usually with these, like I was saying, you'll have like the film strip holders. They'll be like these like little plastic things with squares cut out so they can hold like 35 millimeter or medium format film. Even just those pieces alone, you can get like $15 to $30 for those things. So be on the lookout for these. Again, I paid $8 for this one, so it was a nice little find. Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, I know you. You don't like the electronics. They scare you, and I don't. Yeah, I don't blame you. It's it's good. This is going to be a really noisy live cast, banging into mics and clanking and
It's
all this
okay.
stuff, all this plastic. Oh, we don't care.
Yeah.
So yeah, the electronics. It's like live by the sword, die by the sword. They're plentiful. They have the model numbers. They're easy to look up in the stores, and you have to factor in that there's a 10% chance it's going to get returned. There's no way around it. Based on what we're selling, that's what I saw.
Totally.
All right, okay. I'm just going to start throwing stuff up. Typically, I don't know even the value of this, but these are okay. These are like Sony, and this is a key. The key right there is at the bottom. You see AV system.
Hmm.
Typically, these are for stereo systems, just remotes. This is a remote control. It had the back battery cover. Oh, it even has the original Sony batteries in there. All that stuff. These don't discount remotes. Remotes are fun because they have the model number right at the bottom. You can easily look them up on the fly when you're there. And I pick anything that's $20 and up remote wise. This is a Sony AV system RM-PP412. Based on my experience, once I see these green buttons up top, it means it's serious. So this is probably 20 to 25. I picked up a little, like this is weird stuff too. Like this was actually in the bins in the clothing area when the bins were being wheeled out. Anytime I see a black cord, I go right to that. I just flip
Yeah.
it and check it out. And it's a little Sony, or let's see, Handycam. It's 8.9 megapixels. Oh, it's still, oh, it works. Did you
Look
hear
at
that?
that. Yeah, he tested it live on the stream. So there we
Yeah.
go.
So
Wow,
I,
that's so nice of them to even charge it before they put it there.
well, I did. What happened was,
Oh,
so it had the cords, it had the USB charging cord already there, which is huge. It had the battery
mhm.
in it, which is rare. All
Yeah.
I needed to do was just find the charging brick. So I dug through the bins and I was able to find one. Just a generic like Barnes and Noble Nook or whatever that is
Hmm.
adapter. And I just charged it at the outlet for a good 20 minutes and it powered on. The screen looked okay. So this is like $100.
There you go. That's
Just to
awesome.
let you, I mean, just to let you know, I did the math, probably anywhere from 30 to 40 items today. And let's just say $1,000 plus. I was there for 5 hours. Not bad, $200 an hour. But then
That's
after
awesome.
after fees and stuff. So,
Yeah.
but it's professional garbage picking. So
Yeah.
what else? Going back to you. What's up? What
I
do you
love
get?
it, man. As far as remotes, how you were saying, don't downplay remotes. Like some remotes can really go for a lot of money, especially like Bose remotes. You're talking $40 to $60 for a Bose remote easily. Like those things are, the icing on the cake. Those are harder to find, but
Yeah.
remotes are awesome. One time I was in a thrift store and I just posted this on my Instagram a few days ago. I saw a tote full of just brand new in package OEM
Oh,
remotes.
yeah.
They were all LG remotes, like newer ones. They weren't older ones. They were all brand new. It looked like some Amazon seller had liquidated them or some reason. And they were priced for $1 a piece. And there was like 250 of them in there. And I go up to the manager. I'm like, hey, like, will you cut me a deal if I buy them all? And they're like, yeah, you can have the whole tote for $50. I proceeded to sell those for $799 in one day for the whole lot. It was crazy, man. So
Wow.
remotes are awesome.
Yeah,
Um,
they're fun.
they are. Uh, I wanted to pull something out here. This is actually, I'm kind of cheating. This is from my personal collection. So these are MMA gloves. Okay. I'm only pulling these out because I'm selling them because I just never ended up using them. I wanted to just like show this to everyone. Things like this can be worth a lot of money. Now, a lot of them are really cheap. A lot of them are just junky. Um, these sell for about $70 brand new. These are like pretty decent gloves. And I mean, again, like they look pretty unassuming to most people. They don't look
Mm.
like anything special. But if they're real leather gloves like these are, and these are handmade in Thailand, like these are really decent gloves, they can resell really well, especially if they're in good shape. It's an easy local sale. People are always buying these things on Facebook Marketplace. So be on the lookout for these. Learn what brands do well in fighting. Even like punching bags, those tend to sell well. Like those Bob dummies, like those fake dummies that you can punch, like those sell
Yeah.
really well. Don't pass up over that stuff in thrift stores. Like whether it's local sales or you're going to be selling them online, like I'll be selling these, they really could be worth your time. Now, with that, like avoid like the nasty stuff. Like a lot of headgear is going to be garbage. It's all going to be sweaty and nasty, and like anything really associated with karate is not going to be worth your time. But boxing and like MMA type stuff, it may be worth your time. So that's one tip there.
Good.
Um, let me hold on. I had something here.
And
So
just to, yeah, based on your experience, used items, if they're in pretty good condition, they typically sell for up to 50, half off of what they sell for retail. So
yeah,
always keep that in mind. Clothes as
totally.
well.
Okay, now let me see here. Let me make myself full screen here. So this is, I know these won't show that well on video, but these are Levi 501 jeans. They're vintage. They're not like orange tab or anything like that. I paid $6 for these. They're the 501 0640. Now, the comps I was seeing, they were going for between like 50 and $100. Just because they are white and they're vintage and they're in good shape is going to bring a premium. Like definitely going to bring a premium. If these things can survive the test of time and still stay like a white or a cream color, you're going to get more money for them than you would just like a basic pair of blue jean 501s, just because those are a lot more common, right? Like white pants are going to get damaged. They're going to be nasty over time. But if you could find light colored pants in good condition in a decent size, you can make some decent money on them. Like I said, I paid like $6 for them and I expect to get around like $75 for these. So that's pretty sweet.
Very, very nice.
And then another brand, I'm going to rip this microphone off during this chat. Another brand I just learned about is Flint and Tinder. So these are
Mm.
made in the USA. It's a really nice pair of just basic pants. They didn't look like anything special. They are a little bit stretchy. They look comfortable. But these basic pants are going to go for like $40. And again, I paid like $6 for them. Um, Maybe not as exciting as your stuff. I wish my stuff turned on and made money and was cool and could record stuff. But these are the things I love to sell because they're bread and butter items. This is
Yes.
the stuff you find all the time. And these are brands like Levi's are very common. That doesn't mean they're going to be worth like a lot of money. A lot of Levi's are
Yeah.
not worth your time whatsoever. But if you understand which certain Levi's are worth your time or what brands that like the thrift stores miss, that's how you make, steady money in this business. So
And these are these, what would you call those, off brands or custom brand lines. Like I've never heard of that. Everyone has heard of Levi's and that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. Like I don't know there's a technical term for that, but those brands have a loyal following. So
Yeah.
if somebody stumbles upon a pair like that and they're like, these feel great. I've had them for
Yep.
2 years. I want a replacement. They're gonna go right to you.
Totally. Yeah, no, they're definitely like niche brand companies. I'm not sure if
Mhm.
they have like a technical jargon
Yeah.
type name to their industry. I would just call it a niche like brand. You see this a lot on like smaller companies that are online. They charge a premium. Maybe their stuff is made in the States. Maybe it's just way higher quality, or maybe their marketing budget is huge so they can make their stuff inflated, right?
Yeah.
But you can really find a lot of these brands. I think we talked about on the last live stream by scrolling through Instagram. You see a lot of these higher end brands advertising, or at least I do because I look for men's clothing and I get targeted with like pants that are like brand new for $150. So their stuff resells really well when it's used. There's a lot of companies like that. I mean, I have these on my pile as well. This is called Visla. Like these shorts, they sell well. They're have a good following behind them. It's knowing those small brands that the thrift stores don't know yet, that they don't know how to price yet. That's how you make good money. So
So
I
I
love it.
told you, okay. Let's see, there's my shorts right here.
Yeah.
Here I call these my Sebastian shorts because you came you came into our warehouse and I spotted Quicksilver. Here, I'll stand up for the camera. I spotted Quicksilver. My camera's low. All right, these are Quicksilver, I think, amphibians. And what
Yes, they're the
happened was,
amphibians.
yeah. So what happened? Years ago in the bins, I found a pair of Quicksilver shorts, and I did wash them before wearing them. It's okay. I'm not, it's not the end of the world if you don't. But I did wash them, and I was like, man, these feel great. These fit great. And so what happened was, I'm hooked. Like I'm a Quicksilver shorts fan, and the next summer, where did I go to find replace? A bunch more at eBay. So I was scouring for and watching all these Quicksilver shorts in my size, and sure enough, like that goes back to I'm a loyal Quicksilver fan. So I agree with you, man. Like there's a market for that. You find brands like
Yeah,
that, people are loyal. I'm gonna jump
totally.
into okay,
I,
yeah.
I just want to shout out Jeremy's comment here again. Yes, Jeremy,
That's nice.
I love boxing. It's like my favorite sport in the world, and I love MMA. I love all that stuff. I was going really hard at it back when we were in Denver, and unfortunately, while we were here in Utah, I haven't been able to hit a bag or hit a person. So I'm really sad about that. So if you ever want to fight in person, you know where to find me.
Uh, and you could, and anyone who's watching, just feel free. Just drop a question down below if you have any, if anything pops into your mind or tips you want to share with those watching. Just pop it up. We'll bring your name up and we'll address it. Um, this is bread and butter electronics. Have you ever sold any of these?
Oh yeah, the TI-84s
Yeah.
mostly. I've only had good luck with them several times. It's like so hard to find nowadays.
Yeah. And
Everyone's looking for them, you know.
no doubt. And the prices have dropped a lot. There,
Hmm.
I used to sell the TI-83 pluses for $35, but they're down to like $22 now. So this one goes for around $50 to $60. And what makes this even more interesting is this green overlay thing right here. I've never even seen the green. So somebody out there is going to want this green
Oh yeah.
thing. And then key is, once again, check the battery compartment, no corrosion, boom. So pay by the pound. Okay, this probably was $1.40, sell it for 50 to 60.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, yeah.
you can see why we're hooked.
One tip on those is if you go on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist or whatever like local marketplaces in your area, during like the end of like the school semester, you may be able to get really good deals off of like college kids or parents that bought them for their kids for school. People
Right.
just don't get attached to them. Once they don't need them, they just kind of liquidate them. So that's how
Hmm.
I found good deals on them before. You really want to look for the higher end ones, really avoid the cheap ones. And then some vintage ones sell for a lot of money. I'm sure some of you guys follow the guy Utah Bought and Gone on Instagram. Dave, I'm not sure if you know about him, but he's a local dude in Utah. He just resold like an HP calculator, like an old one, for like 400 something dollars, and he paid $1
Hmm.
for this thing. And it's
Yeah.
crazy. So don't pass on that stuff.
Yeah.
Hold on, we're getting threats up in this place. Uh, Jeremy wants to go fight in the Goodwill parking lot. I'm gonna
What's new with
DM you
that?
late. Yeah, I don't know. Like that's
It happens all the
commonplace. Like
time. Come
come on,
on.
man. Like you
That's
don't
nothing
know.
big.
Yeah, dude, come on.
Nobody would even blink an eye. It's like, all right, there's a
Yeah.
fight. Call the cops.
There's two drunk homeless guys fighting in the parking lot. Like, come on, man. We
Oh
both
yeah,
look homeless, so it's like, let's do it.
yeah. The cops were at the Goodwill outlet today. By the way,
Of course they were. Why not?
it's just they have to make a whatever like a Netflix thing or a show on that.
There's some characters
Amazing,
there.
amazing. All right,
What else you
so
got?
here's I could keep on going. This is an acoustic research. Man, I should have looked this up and brought them up. It's just a wireless transmitter.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I've sold these before. I forget what they actually do, but I like this today because it had the power cord. Now the power cord, these are the RCA cables and stuff. Those are generic. You could get them anywhere. But it's this main power cord. Very hard to find. This will sell for maybe 40 to 50 since all the cords are there, which is cool. So you can see where I go with this. I'm pretty selective. I don't want too incomplete or too many items that are missing pieces. I try to, with that kind of stuff, I have to get them complete. Here's another. This is a Canon. Oh, you may know all about these cameras. This is a
That's not my forte, man. Little camcorder is not my forte.
Oh, okay. Canon Vixia HV30. This I bought from somebody in the Goodwill parking lot. I had shady, man, shady. This is shit. So he's like, hey man, I just got a bunch of stuff, and this is all legit. So this actually had an ARC. An ARC sticker. So these guys, a lot of these people just drive around and go to these ARC and other thrift stores, and he's like, hey, I got this camera. He knew it was incomplete. It was missing the charger, the battery, and I don't even know, the screen could be cracked, but I looked it up, and believe it or not, like in working condition, it could go from anywhere from 150 to 200. So what I did was,
Wow.
yeah, and I just what I did was I just ordered on the spot off of eBay a battery and a charger for it. I'll keep on holding it up. So I ordered a battery and a charger for it, which should be here in a week, and I'll test it out. I mean, by testing it out, I am going to plug it in. I'm going to power it up, and if it zooms and it looks clean, I'll do it. But everything looks legit. Nothing's too cracked. And he's like, dude, just give me $20. I need to make a car payment. And I'm like, okay. How do I say no? And he's actually a good friend. Like, he knows that I like electronics. He was like, hey, I'm going to be out at the flea market. This was this past weekend. I'm like, hey, I can't go out. I don't have enough cash this weekend, maybe the following. And so he just saved a couple things for me. So those are two things right there. I'll throw in one thing because I have a decent amount. I don't need to go through it all. These are CenturyLink routers. That just to let people know, I would stay away from Xfinity or Comcast routers because most of the time the customer has to lease them so you can't resell them. They're locked. But CenturyLink is a good one. This is a model C1100T with the power cord. Should be around like 40 to 60. I'll add some Ethernet cables and DSL cable, and we'll sell them like that.
I love it, man. That's
I
cool.
know, all right, what else you got?
Jeremy's got some cheeseburgers for sale if you want to buy those. Cheeseburger actually sounds great. After we get off with this, I'm definitely going to make some dinner. So
Okay.
if you want to buy a cheeseburger, there you go. But no, going back to niche brands and things to just really look out for. Again, this is going to be a basic pair of looking pants, right? These aren't anything special. Let me maximize my screen so this doesn't look so crappy. So these are just a basic pair of burgundy shorts. Let me show you the logo there. So it's by the brand 10,000. And I paid $6.50 for these at Savers. And let me show you the little logo on the back of the leg. The little logo is just like this little X. But I learned about these again because of Instagram. I'm telling you guys, like when I scroll through Instagram, 99% of what I see is ads for clothing companies, right? Like men's niche clothing companies. I get a lot of these like athletic ads for whatever reason. That's, we could talk about Instagram and how creepy it is for a long time, but this is one of those brands that sells for a lot of money. Like these shorts on their website are something like $70 or $80 brand new, like something crazy. These are reselling for about $40 to $45 depending on like condition, maybe even a few bucks more. Now, these are in like perfect shape. So I'm assuming I'm going to get around $45 for these because they're a good size too. They're large and they're a nice color. They're this burgundy again. So again, it goes back to knowing the small brands. Like a lot of people would be at the thrift store and they would just see like this plain short and they would skip on it. They wouldn't even look it up. But if you understand what quality feels like, and that's the biggest thing in clothing, like you can't just teach anyone to resell clothing because it doesn't work like that. You have to understand how things feel, right? It sounds like wishy-washy, but it's true.
Yeah.
Like if you don't understand what fabrics feel like and what expensive clothing feels like,
true.
you'll get nowhere with this business, right? So learning stuff like that is highly, highly critical. This is how I make, a nice chunk of my change is by knowing these small brands like this. But then we're going to go into a brand that everybody knows. This is a pair of Patagonia board shorts. A lot of people don't even know that Patagonia makes board shorts, but they do. You definitely find them all year round. These, again, they're in great shape. Only pick them up if they're in really good shape. They don't resell that incredibly high, unfortunately. Like you can usually get around $20 to $30 for them. And again, I paid $6.50 for these, but I just wanted to point this out because I spotted these because like they had this like crazy kind of colorway and pattern. And as soon as I saw the pattern on them, I'm like, oh, those are Patagonia. Like I knew instantly without looking at the label. I could just tell because I've seen their patterns and their styles over the years, and it's always pretty consistent with this. But I just wanted to point out with Patagonia, they have this one certain shirt. It's a Hawaiian shirt, and it's covered with like carabiners and like climbing type stuff, like climbing ropes and things like that. It looks like this crazy like Hawaiian shirt. If you find one of those, that thing is easily worth $200 to like $500. Like it's crazy. So knowing that these brands, even though they're like major large brands, they do make these other random items that most people don't know about. Like most people are going to associate Patagonia and North Face with like jackets and winter stuff.
Yes.
But they make a whole line of clothing, and some of it is worth a lot of money. So
Nice.
yeah.
So Angie popped in. She says, "Hey guys," and she says, "I have yet to find Patagonia anywhere except one children's pajamas. They wanted 15 for them."
Wow.
Okay. We're in Colorado and Utah, so
Yeah.
or wherever you're, Utah. There he is.
We're in Utah.
And so we find this stuff all the time.
It's bread and butter stuff here. Yeah, it's like Patagonia, North Face, cool Mountain Hardware. It's always here. But Angie, you're not the first person to tell me that. Like, there's a lot of people that are like, I've never found Patagonia in my thrift store. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, it's not even a big deal here. It's just funny, like how each market is so different, right? Like people on the East Coast are going to find way different stuff than those in the mountain towns. So
and Iowa.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have a so you never know. So keep on looking. But there's other states that have things that we don't.
Right.
Florida has a ton of Tommy Bahama and all that. We don't.
Yeah. That Tony says you can't find any in Texas either. I mean, that would make sense. You could find probably a bunch of cowboy shirts and,
Yeah.
like steers and things like that. But
Yeah.
probably not going to find too much Patagonia, unfortunately. Maybe when you like start going towards the coast, you'll see more of it, but I doubt it. In the middle of Texas, people are really wearing Patagonia.
Yeah, just a lot of pearl snap shirts.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
I love it,
Uh,
man. What,
all
what
right.
else you got?
Okay, so this is a vintage baseball glove.
Yeah.
All right,
Catcher's mitt? Is it a catcher? No.
no, this is just let me give a
It's a
sense of
normal
how
glove?
small this. Look at that, man. Look at
Yeah, it's
people
tiny.
play. See, this has got to be from the 50s. Oh,
Yeah.
here we go. It's a Hutch. Hutch is the brand.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I kind of looked up comps, and this could be another 40 to 50 depending on what the model is. It's a 22X Hutch glove. This is in really soft condition, and typically when you at the bins, a lot of the items that come through the bins are from estates that just dumped everything. This was probably in somebody's basement. Yep, that has that basement smell.
Love
A
it.
little musty, but not that bad. But the leather is in such great shape, and there's so many, with people, people with restaurants and people that have man caves and all that stuff. They get so nostalgic when it comes to these type of things.
Mm-hmm.
So someone just dumped this probably out of their estate, and this. We'll list it, and it'll probably take 6 to 8 months to sell. We don't do auctions on eBay. We just kind of look at the comps and we just throw the price out there. And if it sells within 6 to 8 months, that's fine. So let's just say 50 to 60 for this.
Well, I want to say one thing before you go any further. Let's just talk about gloves in general for a second. You said something really important, is that a lot of people, if like restaurants and things like that, might be buying it. You guys have to remember that not everything that is going to be sold to a buyer is going to be like used, right? Like there's no chance that anyone's ever going to use that glove, but they may use it as a prop in their man cave. They may use it as decoration in their like Americana restaurant, or maybe it's even going to be a movie prop, right? A lot of prop houses go on eBay and they look for old stuff like this to use in movies. So you have to think about it that way, right? Like you don't ever like, just because you're selling something doesn't mean that it has to be like perfect or usable or anything like that. People may literally just be putting it on a shelf and it'd be fine. Now, my second thing about gloves is if that was a Nakana version of that glove, it'd be worth several $100s, right? Like there are certain baseball gloves, especially vintage Nakana gloves, they are worth a ton of money. Typically, catcher's mitts will sell for even more money, it seems like, but high-end baseball gloves, softball, like you can get hundreds of dollars for the right glove.
Yeah, and most gloves, I would say most commercial, not professional gloves. Like I don't know what this is, but Hutch is the brand. It was made in the U.S. Clearly, Cincinnati, Ohio. Really cool, really cool. But a lot of these older gloves, let's just say from the 60s, primarily 50s, 60s, and on, they would have a certain player model. Okay, it would be in here. And a couple weeks ago, I found a Roger Maris glove. And Roger Maris, just to let you know, was the home run leader for a longest single season home run leader up until Mark McGwire broke it in 1998. Look at me. I sound like Wikipedia here. But his name was huge. It was like Murderer's Row, like Mickey Mantle, Roger Maris, and there was another M, whatever. But on the Yankees, like that's a huge name. So people love that. It's the man cave. It's the man cave syndrome, which is cool.
Totally.
Here we go.
We got a what's up, y'all, from our buddy up in Alaska.
That's far away.
Oh, that's far away. We were going to go visit her, but I don't know if we're going to get all the way up to Alaska at this point, unfortunately.
Yeah, there's only certain months you could really go up there, right? It gets a little dicey with the muddy roads and stuff like that.
Maybe we'll just live up there. Who knows? What else you got?
Oh, I got. Here we go. So I also shared there's sometimes the sum of the parts is is greater than the whole. This is a ResMed Respironics power supply for a CPAP machine. Just looks like nothing, right? It just looks like a computer power supply. These sell for these are like 30 to 40 bucks. So there you go.
Wow,
That's something there.
that's awesome.
Uh, little Jabra headset. This is like 30 bucks. Don't really have model numbers. And here's do you know what this is? 10 bucks if you could tell me what it is.
Huh. You kind of stumped me. I don't know.
Okay,
I
these
have
were
no idea.
this. Does anyone in the room know what this is? If so,
Dave
when
will
in
pay
doubt,
Dave will pay you pal you $5 if you figure that
what?
out. Yeah.
It's worth 22. Okay,
Damn it. Never
this so this is Angie says when in doubt, part it out. That is so
mind. Yep,
true. So
it's very true.
this is a part. This is the paddle of a bread machine. Popular bread machines are like Zocharuchi, the Breadman Plus, Well Built, and these were really popular last year when people were home and they were making bread, they were making their own food and stuff. This is the paddle. So this belongs in a little metal pan, which then goes into this bread machine. You plug it in, you put the ingredients, and this paddle cranks around, spins all the dough, and then once it's ready, it's all enclosed. It's all one thing. Like it cooks the bread in this bread machine. So these, as you could imagine, when people wash the bread pans and stuff, disappear. They forget. They lose them. They throw them out by accident. So these are 22 bucks, and these are good because as long as you know the model number of the bread machine, you could easily list it. So this belonged to a brand called Zocharushi, and they are popular with bread machines and also rice makers, high end. So that's always a fun one. I'm going to throw one more in for you, and you would know a lot about these. This is a camera lens. Okay, what is it? Okay, share with the group what jumps out when you see a lens like this. Hopefully you could read the note.
So that's an older Canon FD lens. So that's a older generation. Some of them could be worth a pretty penny. That looks like the 50 millimeter, but I can't exactly see. It looks like the 50 1.8. With those, glass condition is key. You definitely want to look for fungus. You want to look inside the barrel and make sure there's no sort of damage or pitting or anything crazy like that.
Okay.
But with those, it's just important to know the generations of them and understand that that's an older one.
Yeah, well, it's a Canon FD lens, 28 millimeter,
Oh, it's a 28. Okay.
and then it's 1:2.8. What does that mean?
So 2.8 is going to be the aperture. So the lower that number, the typically the higher quality the lens. It's more desirable the lower the number. So if you have like a 50 1.2, that's going to be a really desirable lens because in photos when people want that like beautiful blurry background, the
Yeah.
lower the aperture number, the more blurry you can get the background. So like my lowest aperture, my best favorite lens that I have is a 56 1.2. So it has that long focal length, which makes things blurry already. But then since it has a lower aperture, I can make everything really, really blurry in the background. So usually if you see something with a really, really low number, it's going to be more desirable, generally speaking.
Now you're talking low number, right? Where do we go?
The
Here?
f2.8, like where it's
Okay.
f
Okay.
colon 2.8, that's telling you the aperture number. The actual focal length, the 28 millimeter, isn't going to really I don't want to say it's not going to do much. Obviously there's
Okay.
certain focal lengths that are way more desirable than others, but people really like a lower aperture, for the
Okay.
most part.
I've seen like 4 to dash 5.6 on lenses, but
So
yeah.
that's usually like trash. Those are typically just not great lenses. Typically, you want to see a fixed aperture because it tends to be a way higher quality lens. It's something really, really critical.
Nice.
And usually, if it is a fixed aperture, like a low number, like a 2.8 or lower, it's going to be a heavier, bigger lens. It's going to be way more substantial than like a f4 or a f5.6 would be. So.
All right.
Sorry about that. I don't want to go down a rabbit hole about camera lenses. But.
No, That yeah, a lot of people look at a camera lens and they make a judgment on, oh, the longer it is, the more
Hmm.
expensive the
Yeah.
lens is, which is really what I found almost the opposite. I
Yeah.
found so many longer lenses, like 4 times as long as this. So
Hmm.
whatever. And they're, Vivitar, they're
Yeah. The
all these
trash.
Solagars and stuff, and they
Yeah.
look really, really cool. And then you look them
Hmm.
up, there's no market for them, and
Yeah.
they're easily, you wind up trashing them.
Well,
Uh,
it was real quick since we're on lenses and trash lenses and things like that. There are certain older Russian lenses that are very niche. There's like some lenses and some camera mount lenses like that are super super desirable just for like really niche purposes that they may look really unassuming and they may look cheap and cruddy, but you can get like 80 to 120 bucks for them. Like there is a very deep niche market when it comes to film lenses, but again, a lot of them are junk. Like there is so much crap mass produced in the 80s and the early 90s when photography really started like to feel this kind of boom. There is so much garbage out there. You definitely want to look for like Leicas and a lot of things from Canon and
oh,
Nikon. They still definitely do hold their
yeah.
value, and Hasselblad lenses. Like you need to learn
Mhm.
what the bigger brands are, but like the Vivitars, the Tamrons, those kind like the Quaystars, they're all garbage. They really are.
So I want to run down that real quick. So lenses, this is what jumps out for what I find at flea markets, Goodwills, in the bins. Angie says, learning a lot about cameras. I'm telling you, there's a lot of money there, and
There
yeah,
is.
you go into that next, because there's the lens and then there's the camera body. You
Hmm.
could dive into that, but the ones that jump out to me that I really um, like are Olympus lenses, Pentax lenses, Nikon, Canon, and well, Asahi, Pentax. Those are like the 4 or 5 that I enjoy. Are there any
Hmm.
others that are kind of run of the mill, like middle of the road, that you spot, that you grab?
I have not found a lens at a thrift store in a long time. Not one that I at least bought. Again, everything typically you're going to find at thrift stores is going to be trash. People usually are not donating quality lenses because usually people that own quality lenses, they know what they have. Like, sure, maybe it was a relatives that passed away, but for the most part, you just don't find the quality stuff at thrift stores. You tend to find it like on Facebook and things like that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I've never once found a quality lens, and never once in my whole 4 years of thrifting. Um, well, actually, no, that's not true. When I was at the swap meet with you, and that guy had that AE1 Canon
Yes.
body with the 51.4 on it, that was a nice lens. That was like 150 something dollar old vintage film lens. Um, but for the most part, like the bigger brands, the really, really big high end brands, that's really what you want to look after because those are the ones that have the cult following. There again, like I was saying, there are some niche lenses, like those weird Russian kind of Leica copies that
Yeah.
do sell well
Yeah.
sometimes. But again, it's just you have to know so much about the industry. I'm kind of a camera nerd, and we actually have a camera question here as well. So no Polaroids. Polaroids are interesting because there's like
Yeah.
one or
They
two
are.
main buyers on eBay that if you list a Polaroid, I
Yep.
almost guarantee you that they're going to buy it. I don't remember the
Yeah.
yes,
Retrospect.
yes, retrospect. Every time I've had a Polaroid, this guy within 24 hours like clockwork. I'm like, "Oh, it's sold. It's definitely this guy." It's so weird, but I mean, I've sold probably like 10 Polaroids on eBay over the past couple years. It's always been this guy that's bought them. Polaroids do sell. I've never once tested one, and I've never had an issue. Polaroids are just kind of one of those like workhorse cameras. They're going to be fine for the most part. Um, 99% of them are worth less than $30. So let's
Hmm.
just be clear on that. They're not that
Yeah.
expensive. You have to remember they are a huge mass produced item. Now, there are some Polaroids that are worth a ton of money, but
Yeah.
for the most part, it's going to be like a $30 to $35 sale.
I think it's the Polaroid, like I don't, not a land camera, but it was like the white one with the rainbow, whatever thing. Yeah, those are like 30
Yeah.
bucks. But the
Hmm.
Polaroids are weird because you need the film, which apparently has a battery built into the film pack, which
Yeah.
which makes the thing work. So I've with those, same thing. I would what I would typically do, Tony, I don't know if it was a kind of like a goof question, but if you come across Polaroids, just stockpile them and lock them up according to model. And what will happen is these resellers, these dealers, this one in particular, which is up in Wisconsin, retrospect, they will buy them and typically pay like 20 to 25 a bunch for a lot. So it could go either way. I stopped grabbing them because of a couple of reasons. They're a little expensive. They weigh. So what
Yeah.
is what
Yeah,
question here?
they're not that easy to ship. If he's saying she's gonna spend 2K on a camera, I just want to show off my baby because it's right here. This is my Fuji X-H1 with the 1655 2.8. So if any of you guys like cameras, this is my baby. I'm a Fuji fanboy. I'm sorry we've talked about cameras for so long, but this is a near and dear subject to my heart.
Well,
But yeah,
yeah,
that's my
that's
baby.
cool.
So,
Well, Tony
what are
said
you
he
gonna?
was actually
Yeah.
Tony said he was actually joking, but now he's intrigued, and that's the fun thing about reselling, because you don't know until you do the research. And like Tony, up until this point, was probably saying like, "Oh, what a bunch of junk," but then I would come by those items and say like, "I'll take that, I'll take that." So that's why it's fun, and there's something
Yeah,
for everybody out there.
for sure. Angie says she got a box of digital cameras from an estate sale this weekend for free, but I'm pretty sure they're junk. Free is great unless
Talking,
people are.
you talking
Listen,
like this?
yeah, like that, probably. Listen, free is great until people are just offloading their trash onto you. That's when free starts to get a little bit annoying.
Oh yeah.
Um, so, like, I passed on a Nikon Coolpix little camera today because it was
Right.
only going to sell for like $20 and they wanted $7 for it. I'm like, I'm not even going to waste my time.
Oh
It's not worth it.
no.
Unfortunately, digital cameras, they're not cool like film cameras. Film cameras are cool and they're desirable for certain reasons, but older, outdated digital cameras, they're never desirable. Like no one wants them whatsoever. That's the unfortunate part. So,
Yeah, and I well, you saw in our warehouse, I had tubs.
yeah.
I had probably 3 or 4 tubs, big tubs
Yeah.
of these.
Yeah.
And it wasn't because they were broken. It was because, okay, well, this one has a battery in it, which is a plus, and then it also still has the SD card
Oh,
or
look at that.
whatever your reader. Yeah, so which is neat now, but it doesn't have the charger. And there's 3 components to these type of cameras. First off, you're assuming that this screen is good, which easily gets cracked or and whatnot. So you're going to have a battery in there that's dead, which you have no idea. So you may order the charger, which is $6. Now, most of these cameras, this is a Sony CyberShot, 10 megapixels, probably all in $23. I don't know.
Hmm.
These don't thrill me, but they do look good, don't they?
Yeah, they look sleek, but they're never
Look
worth any
sleek.
money.
Yep,
Yeah.
very
Now,
true.
now there are certain point and shoots like that camera manufacturers make to this day that are worth money. So like really popular cameras like the RX 100, they have several versions of it, and that could be like a $600, $700 point and shoot camera. It's a really, really high end point and shoot. But for the most part, anything like that, it's going to be lower megapixels. It's going to be like 5 to 8 to 10 years old. Not worth your time. Unless you can get it for free or really, really, really cheap, it's not worth your time. But one fun fact about those is typically you don't need a charger. Typically they will charge by USB cable. A lot
Oh,
of them will at least.
okay. And
So that's one
right.
thing.
Yeah, you could give it a shot. Some do. There's
Yeah.
so many. I mean, Sony, Panasonic, Nikon, Fuji. There's so many of these. One thing to keep an eye on with these point and shoots, and maybe you can enlighten us as well. If it says Wi-Fi on it, like typically it may say like Wi-Fi or over here.
Hmm.
That kind of intrigues me because those have a tendency to be worth a little bit more. I'm not talking about $100, but they could bump them up to 40 to 50.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that kind of, it's kind of like judging computers by what processor is being used because you could tell what generation it's kind of from. So if it has Wi-Fi, if it has Bluetooth, something like that, it means that it's trying to connect with a cell phone or something like that, typically to be able to image transfer, which is definitely a little bit better. but still, like, that technology's been around for so long now that it's not really that
Okay.
special anymore. Um, Even if you see like Leica on the lens, they're
Right.
not even worth that much. They really are
That's
not
right.
worth that much. It's such a
Yeah.
weird market, and cameras are just like computers. Cameras get out of date so fast, it's not even funny. Like a 5-year-old digital camera is trash pretty much. I mean, most of the time it's not going to be even close to what is out now, right? Like, so, like, take for my camera example, the Fuji X-H1. This thing is like, I think it came out 5 or 6 years ago now, and the newest like iteration of the sub line of this, right? So this is supposed to be like a more professional style video body. The line that's under it is actually more high end than what this is. So this technology wave that we're in right
Yeah.
now, it's moving so fast that 5 years is like 20 years nowadays. So yeah.
Okay. And back to the point and shoots. This was another one that I picked up. These look sleek. That's exactly what you said. It's a
Mm-hmm.
9 megapixel. It's a Canon. It looks sleek. It's a PowerShot SX110 IS. I didn't even look it up. Why?
Yeah.
Because it looked sleek, and I was like, I'm gonna get this for $2. Who cares? I'll deal with it later.
Mm-hmm.
But what I like about this one is these take regular AA batteries. So the good thing about this, I don't have to invest in a charger or a battery. I just have AA's I could slap in there. It has somebody left their card in there.
Mm-hmm.
So I get to look at everybody's like prom and wedding pictures. And
I love it.
yeah, so I don't know. Like I have to look this up. There's a good chance this will probably only sell for like $23, but I don't have
Yeah.
to buy the charger and whatnot. So
And you also have employees, so you don't have to test it. Hey,
you're
Dave,
not
look, we
supposed
got
to
an
say
idiot in
employees.
the chat here.
This show is
Hey, guess what? Guess what? You're watching our show, so piss off and click off. I don't care. On to the next item. So I was in the Savers today, and this one is always really, really overpriced. Like some things they'll, like, charge $20 for, like, it's crazy. I found a Kirkland shirt for $19.99 today. Like, crazy. They are so overpriced. But then these were $7.49, and they're a pair of Polo Ralph Lauren joggers. So they have the jogger cuff, and the reason these are, I want to say, like, special is because they're military style. Anything that's like Polo Ralph Lauren that is military style will always tend to sell on the higher end. People love military style clothing, especially when it is from like bigger companies like this. I don't really know what it is, but people just love that style. And again, this store was funny because they were asking $20 for a used Kirkland shirt, but then like polo pants are $7.50. These will probably get around $30 to $35 for, just because they're in good shape. And again, on the outside, they didn't have any markings. They didn't look that crazy or special, but on polo stuff, a lot of the tags are actually like hidden, like even deeper into the pant. And then if you can't
Wow.
see a
I see
size
it.
tag or like a fabric tag, it's always on the actual fly of the inside of the pant there. So one fun fact there.
Very
But
cool.
I guess since we're all, brand new to eBay here and we're all idiots, I guess all of you guys didn't need to know that.
Oh yeah.
Moving on to something else here. So, hunting stuff. I love picking up hunting clothing, especially when it's like higher end stuff. This is a hunting shooting vest. It's by the brand Game Hide. It's not super, super expensive, but it's still in good condition, and I just like to pick these things up. Whenever you see like this quilted pattern on a shoulder, and then
Yeah.
you see the shotgun shell holders, that's always obviously indicative of a hunting or a shooting vest. Some of these sell for a lot of money. Brands like Sitka could be worth hundreds of dollars for a certain pair of pants or a jacket. So definitely learn your hunting brands. With this stuff, you do want to look for more modern, higher quality items. The older vintage stuff, yes, some of it does sell, but for the most part, when people are hunting, they want performance gear. They don't want vintage crap. They want to feel good, and they want to be comfortable, and they want to be safe in the elements. So one tip there.
Hmm.
And then Tony said, what about waterproof cameras or GoPros?
Yes.
GoPros are awesome. Yes, the accessories for them, they do well. Definitely look for them. I'm not sure what kind of thrift stores you have that are selling GoPros, but if you find them, great.
Yeah.
Again, going back to that, I would suggest going on Facebook Marketplace, especially when a new generation of GoPro comes out. Maybe you could find people selling their older generations and like selling it in bulk lots with the batteries and everything like that. So then you could split it up. Um, Waterproof cameras, for the most part, any camera that's waterproof, like from the factory, typically isn't that high end. Sure, there are some like point and shoots that are waterproof and
Yeah.
like durable and weather
Yeah.
resistant and all that are okay. But for the most part, waterproof cameras are typically normal cameras that people, so like I have my camera here. What I would do to make this waterproof is actually buy like an external clear case for it. Like when you see like those scuba divers with those big old clunky clear things in their hands, they're putting a camera like this inside of there rather than using like a pre-built system from a company. So that's a little fun fact about waterproof type cameras.
Yeah, Olympus makes a good waterproof camera, a little point and shoot
Yeah.
waterproof camera
Yeah.
that typically sell for like $80.
Yeah.
I think they're called Tough, Olympus Tough or something like that. Here's another. This was a good find. This is around $100. This is a Garmin GPS Map 60CS. Oh man, 60CS. Now, there's a good chance that this is not going to work. Why? Because the back, well, there's a good chance when you see them that they're high risk. Now, the reason is because the battery compartment tends to corrode very easily. Because if you think about it, who's using these? People that are hiking, people that are camping, and they usually just leave them in a bag that with moisture and all this stuff, and they just sit there for a year, get a little corroded in the back area. But this is very clean, and you could tell somebody took really good care of this because it has a protective plastic coating on it, which is neat. Yeah, it's pretty wild. Angie says GPS stuff isn't out of date? Question mark. That is a very good question. No, nothing is. I don't think anything is out of date now. If you're selling used stuff,
Yeah.
but yeah, these kind of like people like these because these are for hunting, camping,
Yes.
and when you go into the mountains, Angie, you lose your cell phone, and you can't just pull up YouTube or Google Maps or whatever it is. So you need this, which
Yeah.
is pretty wild.
Yeah. Yeah. On that note, like GPS, like car units, yes, those tend to
Yes.
go out of date
Yeah.
because 99% of the people in the world are using their phones for GPS nowadays. But like GPS is like Dave is selling. Sure, there are older models that don't sell as well, but like he was saying, a lot of people buy brand new ones of these that go for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars for hunting or for going out to the backcountry. But then also they make GPS units for like RVs and campers and truckers. The screens are going to be larger. Those can go for several $100s used still. So that's what our buddy in Alaska, she would know. Look at that. She's in the Alaska boons. They sell like crazy up here, no matter how old. People, you cannot use your cell phone if you're in the middle of the mountains for a GPS. You just can't. So having one of these, it's a life-saving type thing. But like you're saying, you kind of got to be a little bit more careful with them just because, yeah, damage.
Yeah, and it came with the case, which is cool. So cross my fingers. Hopefully it works. I'm going to keep on going into this kind of stuff. Like this is weird. This is just weird stuff that most people would just look at and say, that's old, out of date, not worth any money. I did look these up, and each of these go for it. These are Motorola Spirit Pro radios, probably from the 80s. And I don't know if they work, and they probably don't. There's batteries inside of each of these, and they go bad. But there's a market out there for used items. People that love this style, love this color, and already have the charger and other batteries want replacements. So they may get a notification on eBay when this is listed, even though it's like 30 years old, that they get a notification where it pops up and they just gobble them up because they are so loyal and they love this kind of stuff. So there was a pair of them. and looked like somebody dated it. Like it could have been a garage sale type of sale. So I'll pay. I'll lock these up and just blow them out for $50, and there you go. It's just,
I love it, man.
yeah, it's
I
very
love it.
unique, very very cool.
Heck yeah. Do you have
Louis,
anything else that's crazy to show off? Because we got to we're already hitting an hour here. Let's do like
okay.
5 or 10 more minutes and then get the heck out of here. What's up, Lewis? What's up, buddy? How are you?
Lewis is here.
Lewis
All right,
is
this
here.
is
We got your speed limits.
how high would you pay for that GPS model? That's a good question. I'm so spoiled because I go to the bins where I pay by the pound. I would pay if I was at a flea market, for example, I would pay no more than $20, $25 for it. My goal is to keep cost of goods sold at 25%. And if it goes for $100, I'll roll the dice. And as long as it looked clean, then yeah, $25 is cool
Yeah.
to pay for it.
The LM, yes, I
Yes.
learned that
Yeah, good
before.
point.
So I learned that like 2 years ago. I had listed a Garmin GPS unit by mistake. I had copied someone's listing over. I thought it was the same like model number, but it had the LM at the end, and
Yeah.
mine wasn't the lifetime map. So the buyer got pissed at me because that's an important thing. Like the Sirius radio units, they have the same kind of thing where it's like a lifetime subscription. So that's a really good note to put out there. Thank you for that.
And there are, just to let people know, not to go too far down a rabbit hole, but there are the charging cables for those things, especially Garmin. There's GTM 36, GTM 25. Those charging cables alone, I think they have what's called a traffic receiver built into them, and they could sell for $30. So Lewis just says, "Hey guys, I just got a speed limit sign yesterday. Don't know if my way was legal." Yeah, this is the first one I ever got legally as well. Another cat knocked it down. Sure, yeah,
That's
right.
usually what happens. Yeah, fell off the back of the truck, man.
Oh yeah, in college, a lot of cats knocked them down, and I grabbed them. All right, this is a real sign. It was just in the bins, and what I liked about this is, first off, 75. I know it's common throughout the country, but whenever people see speed limit signs, they always think of 55 or 65. This was 75. I like that. I'm going to hang it up on my wall right over there.
There you go.
It's pretty cool. What I liked about this is because it immediately reminded, okay, don't take this. Don't bring me to court if you get a speeding ticket. But speed limit 75 means you could probably do 84 and not get a ticket.
I mean, that's a safe bet to me. Yeah.
Right. Speed limit sign of 80 if you're driving in Utah means you could go up to 84. So do not ever go over 85 because that's trouble. But if you see this, 84 is fine.
We are not an advice column. We are not liable for any of your tickets that you get.
Yeah.
How do you get them legally, Angie? That's a good question, and we're gonna pass on that one. No comment. Well, listen, it ended up at the bins. These things, you have to remember, like just because it's like a speed limit sign, it doesn't mean that necessarily it was like a government entity or something like that. You got to remember, these are mass produced items. Like this could have just been liquidated from a company that closed down that made signs. Like who freaking knows, right? I don't know.
Wow, you are scrambling. You look at you scrambling. That is what
I'm making sure you're not going to go to jail.
No, that's fine, because if it did say property of U.S. interstate highways, okay.
Yeah.
Then you have something. Then I wouldn't be putting it on YouTube. But I think that's pretty cool. I mean, that's the fun stuff. That's the goofy stuff that I find.
Yeah, people like that kind of stuff, especially for like man caves, like stop signs and stoplights.
Yeah.
Like there are some stoplights that sell for a lot of money. People don't know about that. Like if you find like a real stoplight, like that actually hangs up, those can be worth a lot of money. Tony says, "I plead the fifth. I do that every single day." But we're gonna.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yes.
Yeah, those. Dave, have you ever tested one?
Never. No.
Yeah.
Those are heavy. I think have you seen those?
I have seen them. They look cool, but they're typically not worth too much money because a lot of people don't
Mm,
buy them, and they're
yeah.
typically not worth your effort to resell them. They're interesting looking, but again, I think not a lot of people really have a desire for those anymore. As far as testing it, I'm not quite sure. I'm assuming you just kind of like plug in the leads to like the electronic item or whatever you're testing, and then you see if it goes crazy. I don't know. Yeah,
So
but
Angie, yeah,
she found one for
go ahead.
$5. I don't know. I've never sold one. I've seen them in thrift stores. I've always passed on them. So
It depends on what type of reselling business you have. Some people, hey, got it for $5. Let me try. I could blow it out for 100. So
yeah,
some of them are heavy,
yeah,
but I don't know how to test them.
yeah.
But there were just a bunch of like radios coming through today. Like this, I got this for somebody at the bins. Somebody kind of like, hey, buddy, here you go. And he said it's around 60 or 70. Had the charger and whatnot. Um, I'll plug it in. If it powers on, it works as far as I'm concerned.
I mean, listen, you could pretend you're a security guard or something like that now, but some of those walkie-talkies, they do sell for a lot of money, but a lot of them are, again, cheap junk, unfortunately. Like even ones that look like heavy duty can just be worth literally nothing. But then there's some that are worth a ton. Again, like it's
Mhm.
just random pieces of inventory that are worth a ton of money. So
Right. So we've been bouncing around from anywhere from 11 to 15 people in the room. And I mean, this is the thing when you do the lives, people pop in, pop out, pop in, and they they're getting back home from work. And uh, this is a Amazon Fire Stick. It was kind of new in some kind of plastic thing. I don't know, $30. I didn't even look it up. I know you could tell just by your history of buying these things at flea markets and stuff, how much they are and if they pass the test. Is that where because you mentioned that on one of yours, you don't even look things up anymore.
I only look things up if like I've never heard of it or something. Like if it's something brand new to me, that's the only time I really look things up. Or if it's super, super unique, right? Like so if I find like a crazy pattern Pendleton jacket or something like that's really, really special and different from the norm, then I'll look it up. But if I'm just finding like bread and butter items, there's typically like a range of pricing that's kind of like a market standard. Like most board shorts sell for the same amount of money. Most t-shirts sell for the same amount of money. Obviously there's highs and lows, but for the most part there is a median in every single market. So I don't really do that much research. Now that may sound crazy to some of you guys listening to this. It may sound stupid, but I've been selling clothes for about 4 years now. I've sold a lot of clothes, like a lot of men's clothing. So I have so much just random knowledge tapped in my head that I just don't need to look things up anymore. And I'm
Yeah.
okay with just kind of getting like this median price range for things. I don't need a
Right.
win on every single transaction. But again, if something is really unique, I'll always look it up. So
So you and I on our last YouTube live, which was Sunday at 1, which is probably going to be our standing YouTube
mhm.
live. We mentioned we brought up that combined over our reselling career, we have sold close to 57,000 items,
Mhm.
unique items. We're not talking about pallets of 1,000 of the same items. We've sold 50,000 unique items over the course of, call it, 6 to 8 years
Yeah.
combined. You and I, you on your store, Lori and I on ours. So with that comes knowledge. That's
Mhm.
when I always point to my head and say, Sebastian, you got it up here. You alone have sold well over 10,000 items probably.
Yeah.
So when you go into a thrift store, board shorts, grab them, and you're in and out of there. That's
Mhm.
a very strategic. You go in, grab them, and go. You don't need to. I'm at the bins. I'm hanging out with my buddies, laughing, spending 5 hours there, and I smell like it. I'm telling you, I smell like I just cut grass and was sweating all day. But it was fun. It was a blast.
That's all that matters, man. At least you had fun. You know, you and your buddies were there and you made some money at the same time. So,
Yeah.
you know, and Angie, thank you for the comment. Thank you for the nice comment. We got a hater earlier on, which was great. So those guys are always welcome in here because again, we're creating and they're the ones sitting at home watching and complaining about stuff. So
I
props to that guy.
Dude, whoever it is, please start a YouTube. I'll come
Yeah.
in. I want to be educated. Enlighten
Yeah.
me, please,
I love if you could do better than
please.
us, go for it, man. I don't care. If you don't want to watch us, then don't watch us. You're not invited.
I'll even
But
send them a box of chocolates ahead of time. I don't
yeah.
care.
Exactly. I
Oh,
love it,
good.
man.
Throwing elbows.
Last comment there, throwing elbows at the pins. I think that's a good way to end off this chat. Again, our normal chats will be on Sunday
Yeah,
afternoons. This is just like a random
yeah,
one we wanted to throw in.
right.
Typically, we'll throw in one of these once a week or so, but I think for today, that's all I got in me, buddy.
Yeah, I didn't throw any elbows today. I stopped doing that. I've seen it way too often. I've made some enemies over the years. It's just human nature. That place, the
Yeah.
bins are the ugliness of human nature at its
Yeah.
core.
Yeah.
Everyone covets each other's finds.
Yep.
There's people stealing out of your cart there.
Yeah.
There is gossip. There's
Oh yeah.
jealousy.
Yeah.
There's you name it. And that's just inside the store. Go out in the parking lot. That's a different world. We could get into that. I
Maybe
almost
we'll talk about that on the next chat. That would be a good one. Like the crazy like uh intricacies, however you say that word, of each kind of like thrifting establishment. Like we'll compare the bins to
okay.
going to swap meets and going to retail operations. I think that'll be a good topic.
Oh,
Let's do it.
it's insane. All
Cool.
right. Well, this was fun. We had a good time
Yeah,
today, and
I love it.
we'll pop in with these haul videos. We'll try to give like a day's notice so
Yeah,
people could
totally.
do it.
Cool, man.
Any
It was
last
fun
words for
talking.
the crew? Okay.
That's all I got left, man. I'm ready
Okay.
to eat some dinner. Guys, thank you so much for showing up. We appreciate and love you all. Even the haters out there. I hope the haters especially have a great night. But cheers. Good night. Adios.
Later.
Say good night to the bad guy.